Hello everyone and welcome back to Backlot Banter. It is Oscar nominations morning and we have just uploaded our live reaction, which of course you should go check out, and you've probably already seen it if you're subscribed to this channel. But of course, if you're not, you can subscribe and like this video and go watch other videos of this similar ilk. But Tanner, we had an interesting morning because it was the Oscar nominations.
That's right.
And what is going to be so fun to talk about here is where things were so normal, they were so predictable, and where there was occasionally a little curveball thrown in. That's what's always fun to talk about this. But of course, if you want to talk to us about this more, we have a Discord server you can join to talk to us about what you think was snubbed, what you think will win, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about this for the next couple months before the Oscars. Tanner, Oscar nominations morning. How are you feeling about the nominations list?
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, obviously, there's things that everyone is taking issue with.
Yeah.
Maybe a certain lady getting into lead actress. Maybe an omission in a screenplay category here or there. But by and large, I feel good about it. I am also an Oscar nomination completionist.
Yes.
And looking at some of these nominations, especially in like the international or documentary feature category,
They give you a lot to work with.
I am. That's true. They are giving me some. They're throwing me some challenges in terms of like, am I going to be able to watch all of these? So that's my main concern going in. But as about the nominations themselves, I feel pretty good about them. There's an odd category here and there.
Yeah.
All right, so Tucker, are we gonna talk about each category in turn here?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I feel great. I feel great about it.
Sure,
I think
awesome.
that this year's pool of nominees was so good. There's only one or two nominees where I'm like, oh, I wish that wasn't nominated. There are some things that I would have rather have seen, but there are very few where I'm like, that didn't deserve to be in there. Which usually there are. I feel like usually there are more. Where like, I really wish that hadn't been nominated. There's like maybe 3 total.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. This is a great pool, and even the movies that didn't get nominated. I mean, the year goes pretty deep in terms of great movies. So
I agree. Yeah.
we're gonna start off where the nominations started off, which is supporting actor, and the first nomination of the night, I would say, was a surprise. Sterling K. Brown was the first nomination announced, and he got in. We certainly weren't predicting him.
No, absolutely not.
And the other ones being Willem Dafoe. No, wait. Sorry,
Robert De
Niro, Ryan Gosling, Robert Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo.
Yes,
great category.
Willem Dafoe did not get in. As we discussed in our predictions video, it was gonna be one of the Poor Things boys most likely. So you might as well try and get one instead of both. You know, but. Yeah, I mean, I like this. I still think Robert Downey Jr. is definitely the favorite to go in. But Tucker, we rewatched Poor Things last night, and it's really fun to see Mark Ruffalo in there.
Absolutely. I mean, he was the one that I was rooting for.
Yeah.
So I'm happy he got in. And although, again, watching Poor Things last night, Willem Dafoe, phenomenal. Amazing performance. But I do actually prefer that it was Sterling K. Brown. I think that having some representation for other films in these categories is always nice. Sterling K. Brown, a great actor. I think his performance is very well rated. I think it's amazing in American Fiction. And so just a great lineup here. It's not like, oh, damn, Willem Dafoe missed for like... being their Cardos, who wasn't
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is like, what the fuck is this? It's like, no, Sterling K. Brown's great.
Sterling K. Brown is very good in American Fiction.
And
so
I would say we're...
Sorry to all of our Melton fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe my biggest snub of the night. Like, I really wanted him to see him get in there.
Yeah.
And it just seems like they did not like May December.
They didn't go for it at all.
You still got to give Charles Melton credit.
I mean, I often
the thing becomes, who do you cut? Who do you cut for Charles Melton?
I mean, I think a lot of people were saying maybe cut like Robert De Niro, but he didn't end up missing any precursors. He just kept getting in and in and in, and Charles Melton was not. So, too bad at the end of the day. But Tucker, I also want to compare and contrast against our thoughts that we did with Sam in our video from a couple days ago. And we have 4 out of 5 there. Yeah, 4 out of 5. So not bad.
Sterling K. Brown being the one we didn't guess, and we thought that Willem Dafoe. We were just being safe there.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, costume design, Tucker. Congratulations, 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5, perfect.
Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
Yeah,
not a lot to say here. All films with good to great costumes.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Oppenheimer is kind of a surprise. I saw a lot of people surprised about it on Twitter this morning. I think it was like number 7 on the predictions for the Awards Expert app. Yeah. And I think that Maestro missing is actually pretty surprising.
But here's my thing with it.
They kind of fill a similar niche.
Exactly.
So
they're
both really cares?
They're both like just period accurate costumes. Is all they are for actually quite similar historical periods too. Maestro obviously a little bit later in history, but Oppenheimer, getting in because the Academy loved it, and it's looking to be a steamroller of a sweeper, and also they seem to really care for Maestro, and more costumes in Oppenheimer. You gotta give a lot of extras some costumes here.
Yeah, so bigger cast,
absolutely.
Much bigger cast,
absolutely. Anything else you want to say about costume design, Tucker? Nope. We got 5 out of 5.
Yep.
Go us. Makeup and hairstyling. Also Tucker,
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Hey, congratulations, we did it. Nominations being Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow.
Yeah. Society of the Snow, Killers of the Flower Moon, I feel like that was like flopping back and forth. Like, what's really going to get it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it does seem like there was some Killers of the Flower Moon not being as popular as people maybe were hoping for. This is one of those.
I also think it's a matter of all of these ones have instances of showy makeup rather than... and Killers of the Flower Moon really doesn't.
Yeah, unless you count like, they gave Leo bad teeth.
Yeah, but I mean, Golda, obviously Helen Mirren's all done up, like Maestro
also,
style.
Like, dead bodies in Killers of the Flower Moon, which is some makeup.
That's true. Maestro, Bradley Cooper's all done up.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, the sequence at the end where they're old. Mm-hmm. Poor Things, Willem Dafoe, obviously.
Yeah.
And Society of the Snow, haven't seen it, but as I understand, there's lots of effects of people's, like noses being frozen and fingers falling off and stuff like that. So,
It's a good list of nominations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing weird there.
And
5 out of 5, which means it was a perfect category.
Perfect category. Adapted screenplay, Tucker. Let's get into it.
Is this maybe the discussion of the night? I think this is the biggest snub.
Yeah, I think so. Nominees, of course, being American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. We went 4 out of 5 here because we, like many, many other people, were predicting
everyone.
Killers of the Flower Moon to get a nomination here, which it did not.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, I would say that American Fiction or Poor Things might have been, before the nominations, the ones that were more vulnerable if you're going to say Zone of Interest was going to get in, and certainly not Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I mean, one of a top 5 contender for Best Picture. I mean, locked in a lot of other categories, and screenplay just seemed to be going along with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just seemingly didn't.
Legendary director, legendary screenwriter, just lots of dialogue.
And they snubbed it for The Zone of Interest, which, again, sight unseen for The Zone of Interest, from what I've heard, is not exactly like a writery movie. Yeah. It's a movie that relies a lot more upon its ambiance, its direction, rather than, maybe dialogue being written. Sure. But of course, that's not what screenplay is, and frankly, it's cool to see them recognizing recognizing a different type of film as opposed to just like a 3.5-hour historical epic. Yeah. A historical epic that I love dearly and would have loved to see in this category.
You wouldn't have blinked twice if Zone of Interest wasn't in there. Yeah. But I think this does add a little bit of spice. And
absolutely.
Also, Zone of Interest, absolutely beloved movie. Again, neither of us have seen it. A24 is just not letting people see this goddamn movie. Yeah. But I'm sure once I've seen it, I'm like, even though it is subtle, I'm just like, I'm trying to future predict. Like, it deserves a screenplay nomination.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's like Zone of Interest has an awful screenplay. What are we talking about? Like, I'm not saying that at all. But I mean, it was just a big surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. That biggest surprise of the night. 100%.
Yeah. Original screenplay. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We went 4 out of 5 there. I think I mentioned that. Original screenplay. Hey, we went 5 out of 5
again. We did go 5 out of 5. And this is interesting because this was the harder to predict category, I use that in big air quotes because I still don't think it was that close between these 5 and the ones following up. Mm-hmm. The nominees being Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. Some alts being Air, Saltburn, but those are not on the same level. None of them have any other nominations. Yeah. Everything else here, no, May December doesn't have any other nominations.
Right, May December didn't have any precursors either.
But Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, Maestro, and then Past Lives, much farther down below those. Those all have other nominations in other places. And it'll be interesting to see what wins here because I think that Holdovers and Anatomy of a Fall is kind of the race here.
They did really love Anatomy of a Fall. It's a one that they could really go for. I think in terms of the type of film that it is sort of a court drama thriller in a lot of ways. It's very reliant on its dialogue.
I mean, I'd say best screenplay of the year.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I just love I love May December too.
Yeah, of course. It's very glad that May December did get in here. It got snubbed everywhere else,
only
which
nomination.
Is crazy because frankly, I would have said Julianne Moore, Charles Melton before screenplay. Even.
Yeah.
But at least it got screenplay, so it's not like it's completely shot out of the Oscars.
Right.
But yeah, glad it's in there. 5 out of 5 here.
Yeah. Very good. Very, very good stuff. All right. Supporting actress.
And also, I just want to say for original.
Yeah, go for it.
Glad Air's not in there.
Yeah.
Frankly, people were saying, Air could have beat Everything Everywhere All at Once if it had come out last year. Remember that conversation?
There was one guy that said that.
One specific guy, yeah.
One specific.
But even then, the original conversation was, this is going to stick around to the end of the year. This is going to be getting supporting actors in screenplay. It could be supporting actors. Like, holy shit, what's going on? And then Air never materialized.
Nope.
It didn't even get into screenplay.
Yeah, gone with the
Air. Supporting actress.
Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, America Ferrera, Jodie Foster, Divine Joy Randolph. We went 4 out of 5 here again.
We did.
Penelope Cruz, no nomination. And Ferrari got 0 nominations overall.
Yes, correct.
I should say. And America Ferrera got in. Mm-hmm. Which is really interesting because she was sort of missing in a lot of precursors.
Absolutely,
she didn't get a SAG nomination, which I was really relying on. I before SAG happened, I was like, if she gets a SAG nomination, I think she's in. She gets like maybe the biggest Oscar clip of the
100%,
year.
Yeah.
And she's well liked in the industry. She didn't get a SAG nomination, but she did accept an award at the Critics' Choice Awards. I want to say the See Her Award, where she gave.
Sure, that's right, yeah.
Where she gave a phenomenal speech. I'll say I watched the whole thing. I mean, she comes off as quite grounded and quite insightful, and sort of like is pouring her heart out about her craft and everything that she has gone through in the industry.
Yeah.
And sort of like how her career has sort of fluctuated with how Latina women are viewed in the industry and how they are casted. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see her in here.
Yeah.
I still believe that Penelope Cruz gives the better performance.
Yeah, I probably agree.
But
also, I'm just glad that America Ferrera is getting recognized. I mean, Penelope Cruz has been nominated 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, she's beloved by the Academy
in the history of her career. And America Ferrera, hopefully, this does catapult her to greater awards acclaim and bigger roles that are getting her this kind of attention, because she just hasn't been the kind of actress that gets the roles that are getting you these kind of awards. And the interesting thing is, this kind of indicated we were like, maybe Barbie is really going to start gathering a bunch of stuff. But this was kind of the only area where Barbie got a surprise nomination. A good place too.
Yeah.
But a good lineup.
Hey, listen, I'll say we could have, far be it from me to say, we could have Penelope Cruz and America Ferrera in.
Correct.
If we didn't have, a certain nomination from Nyad.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later as well, but.
Yeah, but Jodie Foster did get in.
Yeah.
Did we even go through these? No, we did.
Yeah, we did.
You were saying them, so my brain shut off.
Yeah, you weren't listening. That's fine.
But yeah, Divine Joy Randolph is the sweeper here.
Yeah.
It's one of the most sweeping categories of the year.
Yeah.
In the way that Kei Kwan was last year.
Yeah.
But it's a good category. I think the one that Emily Blunt never really sold me as like, she's got to be nominated, but she was everywhere, and so whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of like a blank spot in my mind. Like, that doesn't really count. And then of course Jodie Foster, Nyad. Nyad is the villain, I guess, of this year's Oscars nominations.
It really has become the movie that like basically no one likes, and they're like, we have to do two acting nominations for Nyad.
2 above the line nominations.
2 above the line nominations for Nyad. Anyway, Tucker. So what song?
Yeah. Song. Diane Warren. She's back for the Fire Inside.
Back with a vengeance.
Hot. 2 songs from Barbie. I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For? No, wait.
Yep.
Yes.
It never went away from American
Symphony.
Symphony.
You didn't italicize that one. You guy.
Oh, shoot, I didn't. My bad.
Was Haze from Killers of the Flower Moon, and It Never Went Away from American Symphony. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I like to see a song for my people from Killers of the Flower Moon in here. That's really cool. They didn't do the Rustin song. They did the 2 Barbie songs.
They didn't do Dear Alien from Asteroid City. Asteroid City entirely snubbed.
So sad.
But
so sad.
It's probably I'm Just Ken.
Yeah. They also flashed that one up early on the screen.
They did, and people went nuts, dude.
It's a beloved song. They did. I've long been saying this, is that Yes, they gave Billie Eilish the award for the James Bond song.
Yeah.
But they also gave RRR the award for
yes.
Not To, which is the big fun dance number. I'm like, I just have this inkling that they want to do the big fun dance number again.
And the interesting thing is with these two back-to-back in terms of a standout song, musical moment from a beloved movie, catapulting that specific sequence into fame, I think RRR, I'm Just Ken, especially if I'm Just Ken wins, gives the song category a kind of a kick in the pants. I mean, I'm certainly way more interested in the song category after Not To won, which is, I mean, probably our favorite winner of that category ever.
Absolutely.
But usually it's like, oh, okay, the dramatic thing from the credits of like a biopic wins. That's usually so fucking boring, but Not To and I'm Just Ken are two of the like most talked about songs from films of each of their respective years, and I would just love to see actually interesting variety of things win. I'm Just Ken is that.
They're going to be performed at the Oscars as well. I mean, they're going to get. I'm sure we're going to get all sorts of male celebrities out there doing I'm Just Ken. It's going to be a really fun time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. Score. For score, the nominations were
maybe one of the most quietly strange categories of the night.
Yeah, I see a lot of people. Our good friend Sam Meltzer on the reactions said bad category. A lot of people have been echoing that sentiment. We should also say how many we went 4 for 5 in song as well,
which is actually kind of a trend in terms of us going 4 for 5.
Yeah, honestly. And here we went 3 for 5, didn't we?
3 for 5, yes, because a couple big things missed.
Yes, Spider-Verse missed, Boy and the Heron missed, and in their place stood American Fiction and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Another career nomination for John Williams, who he's
held his 4th career nomination. Like, this one's gonna end his career, so we might as well give it to him. So get it in before he dies and before he's not doing it anymore.
But he's like he I think he's continually said, especially reaffirming after Dial of Destiny, he's like, I'm just gonna keep working. Like I'm not planning a retirement of any kind. So I don't know. I mean,
it's unfortunate because Dial of Destiny, not only incredibly panned movie, I don't remember the music from it. I'm sure the music probably the best part of the movie, to be honest.
I couldn't tell you.
Because, of course, the score that he's been developing for those movies over the course of decades at this point are phenomenal. They're phenomenal
for sure.
And I'm sure Dial of Destiny's score is not that different from the other ones. But when it does feel so obvious that you're doing this just because John Williams is famous and he's old and this is a sort of a legacy thing, rather than recognizing more diverse scores from newer people that
an incredibly memorable score like from Spider-Verse, frankly.
Or Zone of Interest, or Boy and the Heron, which had a surge in the last few weeks in terms of getting nominations and wins in areas, and it's just like, you just could have gone for something more interesting, and that isn't to say that it's a bad score, but it's just like it feels very default Academy in a way that, frankly, not many of the nominees this year do. Like, oh, yep, okay, that happened. Like, we can kind of just block that out of our mind. It's not going to win, but he's in there, yada, yada, yada. It feels like a yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, it really does. And American Fiction's cool. I mean, they clearly just loved American Fiction.
Well, that's the other thing that makes this category weird, is Spider-Verse and Boy and the Heron didn't get nominated, and Zone of Interest didn't get nominated, but American Fiction did, and shows that American Fiction does have some strength here, getting into supporting actor and here, and while I was shocked by that because it pushed out other things, frankly, I prefer the American Fiction score over the Boy and the Heron score or Spider-Verse score, which are both amazing scores. But American Fiction is weird. It kind of sounds like, in my mind, it was like Charlie Brown jazz, like Charlie Brown Christmas. And every time in American Fiction, it was cutting to like, just some environmental shots of like the sea or like some flowers or whatever. And this interesting sort of soft jazz score coming like, this is really cool. So I'm super excited to listen to that as full score, because last year I started listening to the entire scores that were nominated, and I loved them all last year, and I assume I will again this year.
Yeah,
American Fiction actually is probably my favorite nominee here, and then probably Poor Things. But great, good lineup, and Indiana Jones. But
good lineup in Indiana Jones. All right,
and John Williams.
Yes. Documentary. We have 20 Days in Mariupol.
We went 3 for 5 here.
Yes, Bobby Wine, The People's President, The Eternal Memory, 4 Daughters, and To Kill a Tiger. Now, I was not familiar with To Kill a Tiger.
Yeah.
This seems to be sort of a similar situation to a couple years ago with, I believe it was called Writing with Fire, where it's this very small documentary that's only screened, basically a dozen or so times around the country. That I believe it's also from India, again, similar to Writing with Fire. So that my really only thought here is like, okay, I will be able to watch 20 Days in Mariupol, and that's also the presumed winner. I think it's about the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I will be able to watch a couple of these other ones, but like as an Oscar completionist, I'm like, I don't know, when are they going to put To Kill a Tiger on streaming so the audience at large can watch it?
Yeah.
And you said we went
3 for 5.
3 for 5 here.
Yeah.
We should have put Bobby Wine in. I think that got in at BAFTA, but I mean,
I don't care.
This is an odd category because it's a lot of low profile stuff this year.
Yeah, it is. And usually there's one weird one in documentary. I mean, basically, like last year, A House Made of Splinters got in. Yep. I had never heard of it to that point. I had never heard of a couple of these to this point. I'm just not a big documentary guy, and it doesn't seem like almost any of them broke into the mainstream in the way that a couple have in previous years, but whatever.
That's fine. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so you want to take international here?
Feature. Yeah, international feature. The nominees are Il Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest, and we went 2 for 5.
Yep.
2 for 5 here.
Too bad,
The only ones we got were the more obvious ones in Zone of Interest, which is the presumed winner, and Society of the Snow, which is the big Netflix one.
Yeah, well, probably second place, frankly, with some other nominations that it got.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. And I'd never heard of Il Capitano. I'd never heard of the Teacher Lounge. And I'd heard of Perfect Days.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of people I think were predicting Perfect Days for a snub just because it has been sort of on the downtrend in the in some things recently. But it's cool to see it get in. I'm very excited to watch it. I'm very excited to watch a couple of these actually. I mean, yeah. I guess I would have liked to have seen Fallen Leaves in there because that's just one that I've seen previously. And I was like, I really enjoyed that film. Would have liked to see it in, but hey.
And we also have to mention that The Taste of Things Not Getting In is really funny.
Very funny.
Not only because that was doing very well at Precursors, but because this is the situation that The Taste of Things was shortlisted in was that France decided not to nominate Anatomy of a Fall, which frankly could have won here.
Yes.
And instead go for The Taste of Things, which is by all accounts a very good movie.
Yes.
But the fact that they didn't get nominated at all for the one they replaced the one that could have won it with is very, very funny.
Yeah, very funny.
And as you said, as soon as we were finishing up, France probably kicking themselves right now. I was like, they could have gotten a nomination or a win, and now we have neither.
Yeah, because ultimately, from all accounts, they didn't pick it for a very petty reason, that being that a lot of Anatomy of a Fall is not in the French language, and The Taste of Things is completely in the French language, so I should have gone with a stronger contender, France. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. Okay. Animated feature. Nominees were The Boy and the Heron.
We went 3 for 5 here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should say that after. I don't know why I keep you interrupting.
That's okay. The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Robot Dreams.
Yeah, and we went 3 for 5 here because Sam and I convinced you that we should go Chicken Run over Nimona.
Yep.
I mean, kind of a toss-up at the end of the day. And interesting thing that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles not nominated here.
Yeah. They did go for Robot Dreams, which I think a lot of people probably haven't heard of. Again, it's a smaller film that has only screened a handful of times. Did well at the Annie Awards as well. I believe this is a neon feature. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to look into it because a lot of people have been celebrating this one, saying it's quite good. But yeah, I mean, they didn't go for Chicken Run. There was an Aardman one. I think it's just because that one kind of dropped on Netflix to Little Affair.
Yeah, it's just interesting because I feel like Sam and I presented a pretty good argument of Aardman basically never misses. I mean,
yeah.
Fucking Missing Link got nominated. Yeah. It's like, okay, if Missing Link got nominated, the sequel to Chicken Run, presented by Netflix, is definitely going to get nominated.
Yeah.
No.
Didn't.
Okay, whatever.
But the Netflix...
What's very interesting here is I don't really think about it this way, but I think I'll have to start doing this, is there's basically a Netflix slot at this point.
Yeah, there is.
And even over Disney. There's no Disney animated movie here. Elemental did get in, so Disney is not completely shut out, though that is Pixar. Yeah, good category.
And it's funny story, actually. I don't know the full background, but Nimona was one that was going to be produced by Disney, but they actually ended up like scrapping it and dropping it like 75% of the way through that film's production, and it was picked up by, I believe is it Blue Sky? Is that how that works? Or Netflix?
No, Blue Sky's dead, isn't it?
Well, maybe it was. Like I said, I don't remember the full story, but that was a film that was going to be made by Disney that was ended up being dropped by them.
Cat's doing something curious.
She's trying to unplug us back there. Don't worry about it. Production design. Tucker, you want to take production design?
Production design. The nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Napoleon.
Yes.
And we went 4 for 5 here. The only one we didn't get is Napoleon, because Sam convinced us to put Zone of Interest.
That's right.
Frankly.
He did.
Frankly, that's exactly what happened. And again, I think the only thing that really I have to comment on here is that the Academy hates Wes Anderson.
That's true.
Your movies don't look like real life.
Fuck off. Yeah.
And of course, that's the reductive. Barbie and Poor Things also nominated, very surrealist films. But just really unfortunate because, as I said in our predictions video, Asteroid City probably won some of Wes Anderson's best production design.
So yeah.
And he just can't.
They built like an entire town in the desert. But so did Oppenheimer.
An entire Wes Anderson.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would
build a military base.
Lazy.
Why didn't Christopher Nolan have Wes Anderson style production design for Oppenheimer? Frankly, better movie.
Just make it all pastels and have a martini machine.
Wes Anderson's Oppenheimer. Get on it.
True. Yeah. I don't really have nothing really to add here. Editing. Anatomy of a Fall got in. Very excited to see Anatomy of a Fall get in for editing. Other ones included The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
Yep, and we went 5 for 5 here.
We did?
Yeah.
We did indeed.
Good for us.
Hey, we did it. I was personally still predicting Barbie because I think it had some showier editing than The Holdovers, but I knew it was going to be one of those.
Yeah.
One of those comedy slots, essentially. Barbie or Holdovers.
Yeah, and interesting that Maestro didn't get in here because that is a very editing back and forth between timelines and music stuff is usually they love to edit for have nomination for editing for that with Tar last year. But good lineup.
Yeah.
The Holdovers is the only one that like for me is like that doesn't like scream editing to me, but also like I do think I have to rewire my brain to be like comedic editing is a big part of comedic timing, and the Holdover has fantastic comedic timing.
Yes, it is. It does. Yeah, very cool stuff. Sound.
The nominees for sound are The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
Nope.
No part 1. Zip it. Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one because this one has a couple of snubs. We were predicting, we only got 3 out of 5 here because we were predicting both Ferrari and The Killer, and not for bad reason. David Fincher consistently gets nominated for some sort of borderline category, but usually sound. The Killer is a movie that has great sound design and just, I mean, frankly, this is one of those ones you could have seen if there was 2 sound categories still. It would have gotten into one of those. And Ferrari, a racing movie, those usually get nominated for sound.
Didn't miss a precursor for sound stuff.
So either. that's a pretty crazy
big one. Yeah. But the Academy just didn't go for Ferrari in any case this year. But
instead they went for The Creator
and Mission Impossible.
And Mission Impossible, of course.
Cool to see.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible is officially a Oscar-nominated category or Oscar-nominated series now,
which is crazy that never got visual effects or sound or editing or anything. I mean, we're on the 7th movie, or no, 8th movie at this point. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
or frankly, even something like cinematography. I mean, Christopher McQuarrie's a fucking madman. I mean, we could have seen this get nominated for cinematography.
Or like score for the Mission Impossible theme.
Hey. I'm not going to say.
Yeah. But cool stuff all around. This, I like all these nominations. The only weird one is The Creator, but they also did it in VFX, and The Creator doesn't have bad sound. It's like basically a sci-fi war movie, so checks out, I suppose. Speaking of VFX, nominations there were The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and Napoleon. We went 4 out of 5 here because I'm sorry. I convinced you guys that to put Spider-Verse in there. It didn't end up getting in. It was getting in a lot of other places, but it was just the Academy VFX branch that was like, nah, it's animation, not VFX, pal.
Yeah.
And I, frankly, maybe should have seen that coming for them to say that, but they went with all pretty conventional stuff here. big blockbusters and then a blockbuster historical epic awardsy kind of pick.
Yeah, and even though I might make fun of you for like, oh, you lost us a 5 out of 5 because you went for Spider-Verse, that was the right pick at the end of the day in terms of precursors.
And ultimately, would we have gone with Napoleon, or would we have gone with like Indiana Jones?
No, well, I said Poor Things.
Oh, that's right.
Frankly, I'm kind of surprised Poor Things wasn't in there.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, I did hear that Poor Things has the least amount of VFX artists ever on like a Best Picture nominee.
Huh.
Yeah.
They did a really goddamn good job.
Yeah.
And the reason I would have wanted Poor Things is just, it's so seamlessly integrated. I think it's the perfect way to complement production design with visual effects. It's not overbearing, but it really does heighten things. And it would have cool to see Spider-Verse in here, though. So
it would have been. But yeah.
I'm not. It's probably me. Godzilla. I mean, I don't know.
It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, they went out for the creator a number of times, so I would be surprised if it's the creator also.
Yeah.
I mean, Godzilla
and by a number, you mean more than once.
Yeah, more than once. And but also, Godzilla Minus One has had a big surge. I don't know if that's going to continue for the next 2 months.
It really could be any of these.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of, I think, the most tossed-up categories, because, like, you wouldn't be shocked to see Guardians win. You wouldn't be shocked to see Dead Reckoning win.
Nope.
And if Napoleon wins, Napoleon's VFX aren't phenomenal, but it's like, oh, that's, like, VFX used for a historical epic. Like, that's not crazy. Anything could fucking win here.
And really anything.
Cinematography up next.
Yeah.
The nominees being El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And we went 4 to 5 here.
Yep.
If you're noticing a trend. And we went 4 to 5, not because we would have picked El Conde, but because...
It wouldn't have been a bad pick. I think... keep talking. I don't know,
but because Sam Meltzer was such a zone of interest head that in a couple of categories he pushed us to put it in. And zone of interest did not get nominated here. And of course was very disappointing to him. What do you... Oh, ASC noms.
I was going to look up to this. I think they might have gone 5 for 5 for AS. Maestro, Killers, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and then they went 5 for 5 in ASC this year.
Wow.
Because usually they go 4 out of 5, which is why we were like, oh, El Conde is the one that they're not going to go for.
Yeah.
They're going to go for something that they would really love, like Zone of Interest, but didn't.
Yeah.
So
also interesting to note here, and this is a pattern throughout, Saltburn's momentum, whether that's popularity or being nominated at things like BAFTAs and Globes, did not transfer at all. 0 nominations. Emerald Fennell entirely shut out of her sophomore feature. She was nominated for Best Picture last time, and no one would have complained if Saltburn got nominated.
I don't think so.
I
was certainly
phenomenal cinematography.
Absolutely, it looks really great.
And now El Conde, they just love Pablo Larraín.
They do. Yeah. They really do. And I forget who did the cinematography for that, but he's a multi-nominee as well.
We're wrapping up.
Actor. Pretty straightforward here. Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright. Yeah. We went 4 out of 5 here because you knuckleheads, you agree with Sam Meltzer that Leo can't get snubbed. That's Leonardo DiCaprio. No. The writing was on the wall. Coleman Domingo's in. Leo's out. So we went 4 out of 5 here, but not a whole lot to say here because I think this was fairly expected.
Yeah. I mean, it was just 5 of the 6. The top 6 got nominated.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing to complain about here.
Yeah.
It'll just be interesting to see. The only question mark now is who wins in terms of the race between Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy.
I mean, it's so funny that race has become, it's Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, to now it's Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti now.
Bradley Cooper does not have a chance.
Yeah, sorry, pal. Cool stuff. All right, actress.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Yep.
So, Annette Bening.
Started off on a bad foot.
We can just start off on the right foot there. Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone. And now, I'm happy with most of these.
Same here.
I think Carey Mulligan did a great job in Maestro. She's I'd say like my 4th. I'm not mad. I'm sure not mad that she's nominated. I love Carey Mulligan. I think she was very good in Maestro. But it would have been more interesting to see a number of other actresses, primarily Margot Robbie, Greta Lee, Natalie Portman. But really, the onus is on Nyad happening.
Yes.
Being the way it is, having the actresses it does in it, and frankly being on Netflix, which I think gave them a big boost in terms of their, what's the word I'm looking for? The race of their...
Oh, like just being a contender, basically?
Fucking Annette Bening.
I mean, I was disappointed to not see killers in screenplay, but Annette Bening is bad in Nyad. She's bad in Nyad.
Which you would say probably maybe the only bad nomination?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. And Margot Robbie was the number 6, so it is not mean or out of line to say Annette Bening is the reason Margot Robbie got snubbed, or Greta Lee got snubbed, or whoever you want to say. Yeah. Her being in there, going for this like very baity sort of performance where she's like, I'm playing a real person who did an incredible athletic feat, and it's all, and like the whole movie is basically her swimming in the ocean, crying, being like, oh, I can't do it, to, oh, I can do it actually. Like, it's all that, and she's not good in it. 2 above the line nominations for Nyad.
Yeah, it's crazy because Nyad's track record is literally, okay, they're famous and they're in a biopic-y movie. And again, that feels very traditionally Oscars-y. It's like, they're not particularly well regarded. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of the thing that we do. And I feel like this is how it goes in my mind.
Sure.
I would have loved to see Margot Robbie, but I feel like Greta Lee might have actually been the 6th.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they didn't seem to like Past Lives in a lot of other regards, but Actors Bench could have been different. The
reason I would say it feels like that to me is because Past Lives did get picture.
Yeah.
And it is much like fucking Women Talking last year. It's a screenplay picture combo. That's it. It feels like something's missing there.
Yep.
It feels like if it was screenplay actress picture, you're not gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it feels like that she would have been number 6 in terms of actually, because Margot Robbie not getting in is a surprise, and I think it's unfortunate.
And I think, as a couple people have noted, she's been snubbed a couple times at the Oscars now. So I mean, I don't know.
She has, definitely. But I think she got in for Bombshell.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Whatever.
Tanner?
Yeah?
Director time, baby.
Tucker, we went ape or I specifically went ape for this.
You literally hooted like a monkey.
I did. Because nominees there are Anatomy of a Fall, The Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest.
Yes.
The big surprise here being, first of all, no Greta Gerwig. We kind of felt that was the motion in the ocean there. It was like, okay.
It's so fucking unfortunate.
Take Greta Gerwig out, and I guess we have to put Alexander Payne in just because Holdovers is having a moment. But nay!
No.
But nay, the director's branch said.
You know what they did, Tanner?
What?
You know what they took?
What'd they take?
Painkillers.
That's true. They took some painkillers.
The Academy was on painkillers.
Justine Triet may or may not have pushed Alexander Payne out of a window. We don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe,
we'll
but
see.
she's in there, and it's really fun to see. Tucker, that was a hope diction of yours. Congratulations,
It wasn't just a hope diction. It was also a prediction. In our prediction video, I said I think that she can get in.
Yeah.
I also had her in as the international director or director of an international feature over Jonathan Glazer. The reality was they actually both got in.
Yeah. Which,
again, I love the Holdovers, but Alexander Payne was the least interesting nominee out of this top 7. And so I'm very glad that that he wasn't in there, and that we got 2 international directors of international films for the first time in Academy history.
Yeah.
And we did the fucking Academy did not go all male directors again, especially in a fucking year where Anatomy of a Fall and Past Lives and Barbie is like.
We still can only do one, just one.
I gotta be honest. Yeah. Anatomy of a Fall, my prediction, my hope diction, it getting in is like probably my favorite thing about this Oscars. Yeah. I love Anatomy of a Fall. Her getting in there is an incredibly inspired choice. But I also have to say, I think I would have rather Greta Gerwig be nominated.
It just makes more sense.
Well, I think it just also, it feels more deserving. I prefer Anatomy of a Fall to Barbie, but, Barbie is one of the most popular, important, influential movies of the last few years. It's not like it's just... it's creative vision through and through. Literally everything we commended about Barbie was she wrangled this thing. It's her vision. There's so much creativity put into it. And that couldn't even get Best Picture or Best Director?
It would have been like really poetic for her to be nominated the first time for Lady Bird in director, like the small indie movie that you know.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I forgot that.
She got nominated for director there. It's like indie A24 film that kind of put her on the map as a director, and then just a few short years later, she is the director of the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah, one of the biggest movies of all time.
Directed again. Director nomination again, but now just they Little Womened her again. Like, no director, you're in screenplay.
Now the interesting thing is here although of course Justine Triet is definitely the number 5 here because she's the surprise sliding into that bottom slot.
Yep.
But I would say Lanthimos is probably the number 4 that like people at large would have rather seen get nominated.
Yeah.
But also. For me, having not seen Zone of Interest, I can't really comment on that. Mm-hmm. My anti-killer sentiment, I would have much rather seen Gerwig over Scorsese. But it's not like Killers of the Flower Moon is not a phenomenal achievement, and he's Martin Scorsese, and this I think makes him the most nominated living director. So it's a great lineup. Yeah, it's a great lineup.
It really is.
Barbie feels like it's missing, but I also am willing to take that loss for.
I saw someone say on Twitter this morning before the nominations came out that if we did end up getting an all male lineup, that they could like see maybe a category expansion happen here.
Sure.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, frankly.
Yeah, but what, to 6?
I don't know, to 6, 8, I don't know, 10.
Yeah, they've never done that for any other category.
No, a lot of other ceremonies are moving to 6.
True.
So I wouldn't be opposed.
No, I'd love that.
I'd love that too. But hey, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But like, again, to echo you, Tucker, there's not a bad director here.
No, absolutely.
Zone of Interest sight unseen might be awful. It's probably not. It's probably not awful. And Best Picture, Tucker. Congratulations.
We gotta go back to the director for 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, Bradley.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
he tried. He put his whole kapussy into it, and it just didn't pay off.
No.
It's probably not going to win anything. Some makeup.
It'll win makeup. Yeah. It'll win makeup. He's like, hey, congratulations, Bradley. You sure look like that guy, don't you?
I'm really excited to talk about Maestro in terms of the Best Picture lineup. But Best Picture, you already know it. We don't have to say it.
Congratulations, everyone. We all went 10 out of 10, didn't we?
Really nuts. Yeah. I mean... ridiculously nuts, especially because some things like the track record of Air at the beginning of the year and Color Purple before it came out, and then Saltburn getting a rise at the end of the year, and a number of things being nominated in other categories where it's like, okay, well, I could have seen that slide into picture. There was no question marks here. I mean, this is the PGA 5?
Yep. PGA 10.
Yeah, PGA 10. Mm-hmm. Everything here nominated everywhere else. Mm-hmm. Just nice and comfy.
I've been joking and saying for weeks, whenever people ask me like, "Oh, what's going to be nominated for Best Picture?" I was like, "I can tell you the list. I can tell you." We know the list.
Yes. There was I was telling this to my girlfriend the other day who doesn't know much about this, and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I can tell you the Best Picture nominees." And I told her the 10, or sent her like a screenshot of my 10, and I'm like, "But the chances are that I get 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 here. It's very unlikely that I go 10 out of 10." But I did. I mean, I told her the Best Picture lineup 2 weeks ago.
Yep, exactly. Lots of people
We're
could.
fucking prophets.
Lots of people could. And yeah, I don't know, because we've only had the 10 in Best Picture for a couple of years now.
Correct.
And last year there were some surprises, a little bit of shakeup. So it'll be interesting to see, in years going forward, how many times something like this happens.
I doubt
where
it.
There's just a clear 10.
I
just
doubt it'll happen for a while.
Yeah.
Because the more nominees you have, the more question marks end up being raised, and more just screenplay and picture nominees can slide in there.
Yeah.
But this is our 10, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one that I think people on the whole are shaky on is Maestro.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably the most conflicted nominee here.
I think so too. It's certainly the least beloved.
I also like Maestro a lot. I think it's a great movie.
I think so.
And so I'm very happy with this lineup. This is an amazing lineup of 10 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah. When your least beloved film in a Best Picture 10 is Maestro, which I think is at maybe like a 3.3,
which is good.
Yeah. Let's find out. I spelled it wrong. Oh no.
Maestro.
Yeah, 3.3. God, I'm a fucking genius.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, yeah, I think Maestro is a good movie, and we will, Tucker, be reviewing each and every one of these films on the Quest for the Bestest.
I love Quest, but I do Quest to do this part of Quest. I'll be honest.
It's really fun. I love doing it. I love doing it.
Oh
we're actually recording our first one of those reviews tonight.
Yeah, which is why we watched Poor Things last night.
A little presumptive on our end, but we knew because we're prognosticators.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd like you to keep returning back here to Backlot Banter for all of our Oscars coverage, movie reviews, movie discussions, anything of that nature.
Best Picture nominee reviews.
Are Best Picture nominee reviews, precisely, Tucker, and our Oscar reactions when things happen, actually. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Toodles.
Hello. Would you like to take it? Would you like to? Oh Lord.
Hello. Hey. I'm gonna fucking punch you in your throat.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna kick your dog to death.
I'm gonna kick your dog to death.
Kick your fucking dog to death.